If you've been scrolling through endless lists of sewing machines, trying to picture yourself quilting a big blanket or piecing a quilt top, and still feel stuck on which one actually makes sense for your workflow, this review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a good chunk of the past month testing a few mid-arm machines, reading forum threads, and talking with people who've just finished their first big projects, so let's break down what the Juki TL15 brings to the table and whether it's the right fit for you. First off, the TL15 sits in that sweet spot between a compact domestic unit and a full-size industrial arm. Its 9-inch throat space measured from the needle to the right edge and a 6-inch depth on the left make it comfortable for most medium-size quilt blocks, but you'll start to feel the limits once you move into larger quilts like a 150-inch lap blanket. That's not a flaw, it's simply a design choice that keeps the machine lighter and more affordable than the 12-inch arm models you see in professional studios. If you're planning to work on standard blocks, lap quilts, or even a few simple apparel pieces, the space is more than enough. One of the first things I noticed in everyday use is the LED lighting. It's not just a decorative glow, those lights actually cut down on eye strain when you're stitching for hours on a dimly lit craft room. I was able to see the stitching line clearly while stitching a 10 by 10 inch block for a quilt top, and the lighting didn't flicker as the motor ramped up to its top speed of 1,500 stitches per minute. That speed is another practical point. The machine feels responsive enough to keep up with a brisk hand, but it's not so fast that you can't control the feed manually. I found the sweet spot around 900 SPM for quilting, fast enough to keep a steady rhythm, but slow enough that I could still catch a misplaced stitch before it locked in. The built-in auto thread trimmer is a feature that sounds great on paper but really shines when you're doing a lot of repetitive stitching. While piecing a panel, the trimmer clipped the thread cleanly after each seam, saving me from the usual habit of stopping to snip with scissors. That little convenience added up to about 10 minutes saved over a 2-hour quilting session. For someone who hates the snipe hand snap routine, this can be a genuine time saver. On the flip side, the trimmer only works when the foot pedal is released, so you still have to be mindful of your positioning. It's not a fully automatic Quilting system. Now, let's talk about the presser foot lift. The TL15 offers a fairly generous lift range, which is useful when you need to switch between thicker quilt batting and lighter fabric layers. I tested it with a 7 ounces batting and a 3 ounces batting in the same session. The foot adjusted without any jarring movements, making the transition seamless. However, the lift mechanism felt a tad stiff compared to higher-end models, meaning you'll need a little extra force on the pedal when raising the foot for heavy layers. If you're a lightweight seamer who rarely works with thick materials, you may never notice it. The machine includes a few handy accessories: a straight stitch foot, a quilting foot with an open toe, and a quilt guide that helps keep your stitches straight on large panels. The quilt guide alone is worth the extra cost if you're new to quilting because it eliminates the guesswork of staying on a straight line across a 4-foot wide fabric piece. In practice, the guide kept my seam allowance uniform for a whole hour of quilting without me having to constantly check my ruler. That said, the accessories are basic. The quilting foot doesn't have a built-in roller, so you'll still need to manually guide the fabric. If you expect a high-tech, all-in-one quilting solution, you'll feel that omission. Who should buy the Juki TL15? If you're a hobbyist who's already comfortable with a basic sewing machine and wants to step up to quilting without splurging on a full-size industrial arm, this model hits the right notes. It's also a solid choice for small business makers who produce medium-sized quilts or pieced garments on a weekly basis, someone who needs speed, decent throat space, and a few quality accessories but doesn't require the massive arm length of a commercial unit. The price point, which sits comfortably under the mid-range tier, means you get a lot of functionality without breaking the bank. Who should skip it? If your primary projects are massive quilts, wall-sized blankets, or you're looking for a machine that can handle 12-inch or larger arm work out of the box, you'll quickly outgrow the TL15's dimensions. Likewise, if you demand a built-in roller foot, advanced needle positioning, or a fully automatic thread cutting system that works on the fly, you'll need to look at higher-priced models. The foot lift's slight stiffness could also be a deterrent for those with limited hand.